Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa sallim. A short video on the reality of Sufism or tasawwuf in the West and some of the common misconceptions of Sufism. First of all, Sufism is a term that is very much discussed, and many people have different definitions of what is Sufism. So whoever you ask, they're going to have their own understanding of what it is. This video is not going to focus so much on what is Sufism. It's going to focus on the common, some of the major problems in Sufism in the West, because this is a topic that is going to have to be discussed sooner or later, and it's already discussed. So, first of all, Sufism is a word that doesn't exist in Arabic. It's tasawwuf that some people translate into Sufism. Some people translate tariqah into Sufism. Other people translate tasawwuf into Sufism. Some people translate tazkiyah to Sufism. So, tasawwuf, which is the common translation, is essentially the mystical dimension of Islam. So tasawwuf is the inner, mystical, deep, metaphysical, spiritual dimension of Islam. You can say the essence of Islam. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, if we look at Prophet life, you cannot just say that Prophet was a man of form, that he prayed in a certain way, he walked in a certain way, he dressed in a certain way, he drink in a certain way, drink water 3 sips with the right hand, for example. All of this study of the form is what you can say fiqh or Islamic law. But you cannot just say that Prophet is just a man of form, that there's no deeper significance into the form. So the inner significance of the Prophet is tasawwuf. It's the study of the mystical aspect of Prophet, the mystical and spiritually rich dimension of Islam. Now, this can be explained in many ways. Some sheikhs explain it like Sharia and Hakika, the law and the essence of the law. Some explain it like the outer and the inner, like Ilmul Zahir, the study of the manifest, and Ilmul Batin, the knowledge or study of the hidden. So Ilmul Zahir is a tasawwuf, fiqh, and Ilmul Batin is tasawwuf. Some explain it in terms of Islam, Iman, Ihsan. So Islam, you study through Sharia fiqh. Sharia, you study through fiqh. Sharia is law, fiqh is the human study of law. And Iman, which is faith, you study through Aqidah and Tawheed. And Ihsan, which is the perfection of religion, you could say. You study through tasawwuf. So there are many different ways of explaining it, but essentially tasawwuf is the mystical aspect of Prophet Muhammad. So every Muslim in the world has, to a certain degree, tasawwuf. Every Muslim has a mystical dimension to it, because it's not just form. There is a mysticism in it. Some have more, some have less. And as we know, for example, some of the Salafi people, they have very, very little of tasawwuf, and they throw away most of it. But even the Salafi, they have a mystical dimension to it, because we are dealing with God and we are dealing with angels and prophets. There is a mystical aspect to it. Then the people of Tariqah, for example, in West Africa, North Africa, and Turkey and some other places, not maybe so much Turkey today, but traditionally Turkey, Ottoman Empire, have a lot of the mystical dimension. So this is very important to understand. Tasawwuf, and this is the #1 misconception in the West of Sufism or Tasawwuf, is that Tasawwuf is not separate from Islam. It is not separate from Prophet. It is not two different things. A Muslim here, Sufi, and no. Tasawwuf is the mystical dimension of Islam. It is the essence. And essence is essence. It needs a form. You cannot just have essence by itself. You need a form. You need a form. All the great sheikhs of all the authentic tariqah will say the same thing. The awliya will say the same thing. You need the form and you need the essence. It's not enough just with the essence. Imam Malik, the founder of Maliki Madhab, said, tasawwuf without fiqh will be heretic. Fiqh without tasawwuf will be hypocritical. You need tasawwuf and fiqh. You need both. You see? You cannot simply take the form, the deepest teachings of Islam, the most mystical, the essence, the core of our very being, the knowledge of who we are as people, and the mysticism around, revolving around who we are at the core of our being. You cannot take it and extract it and separate it from Islam. You cannot do that. That is like taking the juice of an orange. You just extract the juice of the orange. You don't have the shell or any of the meat to protect the juice. So you just take the juice. What happens with the juice? The juice, it will spoil in a couple of hours. And if you drop the juice on the floor, it's spoiled. Spoiled. It's so sensitive, it will spoil immediately. But if the juice is protected in the meat, which is protected in the shell, what will happen? An orange with a shell, you can throw it on the floor. It will not break. You can have it in your bag. You can have it among other fruits. You can throw it around. It will be intact. And this is tasawwuf in Islam. It needs the form, it's intact. Because if you just extract the essence, the deepest teachings of Islam, such as tazkiyah, how you purify the inner soul and our true selves, and for example, the nafs and the ruh, and how the nafs can travel and transform into higher states from the lowest nafs al-amara to nafs mutma'inna to nafs al-kamaliya. These deepest teachings, you just take them from Islam. Without any of the practice, it will fall astray. Like Imam Malik said, it will fall astray. It will become a religion of its own. And that is what happens. Because if you take essence and you don't have the form of Islam, you just take the essence of Prophet Muhammad, but you don't have the form of Prophet Muhammad, what will happen? You will invent your own form to the essence. So you will take the essence and you will conjure, you will create your own form to the essence. And that is why many people say Islam, Sufis are bid'ah or innovation. Is because that is what happens when you take essence and you add your own form to it, because you separate it from Islam. And this is not what is tasawwuf. And also what I'm thinking about is, you know, Islam is a very mystical religion at its core. Religion, deen. I translate it as religion. It's not completely correct, but it's more like dharma. The dharma of Islam, or the deen of Islam, is very mystical. If you travel all over the old Muslim world and look at the old mosques and the mausoleums that are built to the great Sheikhul Islams and the great sheikhs, the awliya, it's so mystical. It's so rich. You take the best of that, which is the mysticism and tasawwuf. And how can you do that? We can't just go into an old tradition that has billions of followers and take the best and then say, we are Sufi, we are the mystical ones, and they are the lower Muslims who don't understand the essence of Maulana Sheikh Jalaluddin Rumi or Sheikh Ibn Arabi. They don't understand it. They are the lower ones. We are the greatest. This is shaitan. A'udhu billah. This is shaitan. A'udhu billah. Who is it that think he is better than other people? Is shaitan. You see, we claim to be Sufi, but now we extract ourselves from the rest of Islam, and then we stand up here and we look down here. This is shaitan. This is pride. This is pride. This is arrogance. Pride and arrogance. The very bad characteristics that Sufi teaching or tasawwuf is supposed to purify us from. It's supposed to make us humble. It's supposed to make us have taqwa or fear of Allah. It's supposed to make us to see everyone as our brothers and sisters. So this is the main thing. There is no separation from Sufi and Islam. Sometimes some people will say Sufi. I'll use the term that just means I'm like esoteric Islam or mystical. I'm separate from, you know, Salafi doctrine, which rejects mysticism. So sometimes it can be useful to just make the distinction Sufi to not make people believe you are in the Salafi madhab, which rejects all of this. But in essence, tasawwuf is just the essence of Islam, is the juice in the orange. But it is not separate from the orange, it comes from the orange. And it needs the shell and it needs the meat, otherwise it will be corrupt. Hope this video has been helpful. Assalamu alaikum.